Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today I'm going to make a more random folded reverse dye. I washed the shirt, but it hasn't been soaked in anything, so it's just damp with plain water. I'm starting out with a Gildan Ultra Cotton shirt that is kind of an olive green color. For this shirt, I'm just going to randomly gather it and tie sinew lines. The first line is just a random diagonal line across the shirt. From here, I'm going to gather up small areas on either side of this initial line and tie them with sinew. I'm really trying to be as random as possible with this. I don't want it to look like I intended a specific design. I just want it to be random. And I'm grabbing both layers of fabric at the same time. I'm not just tying one side or one layer of fabric. I'm going to continue adding sinew lines on either side of this initial line until I end up with several lines on both sides of the shirt. I want the sections to be pretty large. Because I'm going to do a color removal process on this shirt, everywhere that I'm placing a sinew line is going to be a line of the original shirt color. So because the sinew is wax coated, when I tighten this sinew down on the shirt, it forms a waterproof barrier, and it's not going to allow the color remover underneath that area to remove the dark olive green color from the shirt. For the color removal process, I'm going to use a product called Out White Brite Laundry Whitener. And I purchased mine at Walmart in the laundry aisle. It's usually next to the bleach products. It's not bleach, so it's not going to damage the fabric like bleach would, but that's usually where they place it in my local Walmart. If you can't find any at your local store, I have a link down below for where you can purchase some from Amazon. I'm doing the color removal process outside because Out White Brite does have a smell and I don't want the fumes inside. I'm also wearing my respirator throughout this entire process because I don't want to inhale any of the powder or the fumes. I'm going to liberally sprinkle all the items that I'm going to remove the color from with the Out White Brite. I have a couple different dresses and a few shirts in this container. Then I'm going to pour boiling hot water over the top. If you notice, when the hot water hits all the shirts or hits the Out White Brite, it starts to foam and immediately remove the color. I haven't sped this part of the video up, so this is real time how fast it works. From here, I'm going to go ahead and speed the video up, but I left the shirts in the Out White Brite for probably about 15 to 20 minutes. Then I took them to my utility sink and I rinsed them really well in cold water. I left the shirts and the dresses, everything tied throughout this whole entire process. Then I put them into my washing machine and I washed them using either a hot or a warm cycle with a little bit of Dharma's textile detergent. I like to give them a good wash to get out any of the smell from the Out White Brite. Then I put them into my soda ash solution and I allowed them to soak for 20 to 30 minutes before wringing them out in my Panda spin dryer. So this is what the shirt looks like right before I started adding the dye. And I thought some blue shades of dye would look really good with the green lines. I'm also going to muck dye the shirt, so I've placed it down inside of a plastic container. And all muck dyeing is basically just allowing the shirt to process down inside of the melting ice and dye mixture. I'm also going to add the dye over the top of the ice. So I'm placing my ice on top of the shirt, and I'm making sure I have plenty of ice to cover the top of the shirt because this is the only layer of ice that I'm going to add. I want there to be quite a bit of muck around the shirt. It doesn't have to be fully submerged, but I don't want it to be sitting all the way out of the muck either. Now I'm going to just randomly sprinkle Blue Linen, Nightfall, and Evensong, which are all Dyespin colors, over the top of the ice. So if you aren't familiar with Dyespin, that's a dye company out of Missouri. And I don't have all of their dyes, but the ones that I have I love. They make gorgeous colors, and as you can tell from the video, along with placing a sticker on top of the jar with the name of the dye, they also place how many teaspoons of dye you need to add per half a cup of water when you're mixing liquid dye. So that makes it very convenient. You don't have to try to figure it out or decide what to add. They put the formula on top of their jars. I added a little additional soda ash over the top of the dye, and then I placed the shirt aside and I allowed it to process for at least 24 hours. Part of that time I went ahead and set the container outside where it was really hot. Then to rinse the shirt, I took it to my utility sink and I began rinsing it in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. Then I untied the shirt, warmed the water up to hot to rinse out any of the excess dye, and after a while I just decided to run some really hot water in my utility sink, added a little splash of Blue Dawn dish detergent, and allowed the shirt to soak. I changed out the water when it cooled off and continued the soaking process until the water was almost clear. Then I put the shirt, along with some Dharma's textile detergent, into my washing machine and washed it using a hot water cycle. And after the shirt was washed and dried, this is what it looks like. Okay, so what do you guys think? I really like this one. I think this one turned out looking really cool. I really like the dark olive lines with the different shades of blue. And I like the softness of the blue. So adding the dye over the top of the ice, I think gives more of a soft watercolor effect to the dye. And I think it flows really well with these random lines. I'm not sure why, but for some reason when I look at this, it reminds me of a map. Maybe if the blue was reversed with the green, it would look more like a map, but I don't know. That's just the vibe that I pick up every time I look at it. I like the randomness of it. I think that's one reason why I really like geodes, is because geodes are more random. This one isn't a geode, and it isn't intended to look like a geode, but it is more random like that, and I like that part of the design. I find things that aren't so symmetrical and perfect more interesting to look at. I think they give my eye a few more things to pay attention to and try to figure out. So this shirt really appeals to my artistic style. And if you guys have enjoyed watching how to make this shirt, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.